Well, this is a name that you probably haven't heard about in a while, because today we are heading over to the Montreal Canadiens and expanding on a conversation we had opened up 2 days ago. 2 days ago, we spoke about Ivan Demidov, top prospect in the Canadian system, and pretty much the best guy that they have in the pipeline at this point, and his very publicly revealed dissatisfaction with the way he has played this season. Long story short, if you look at Demidov in his game log, you'll see a lot of pointless games and lower minute games compared to what he had been given earlier on in the year. When Demidov is given, let's say, 12 to 16 minutes a night, he generally produces at a point per game, maybe 2 points every 3 games kind of chip. But when he's given 6, 5, no-minute games, he doesn't do anything. And this actually continued further on into the Russia 3x3 Channel 1 Cup, because there was a Team Russia that ended up playing some games against Team KHL and Team Kazakhstan and Belarus. The Russian team was coached by Roman Rottenberg, the same SKA St. Petersburg head coach that was given Demidov a few minutes in that team, and we saw some of the same things bring itself up in this tournament. Now, it started out pretty poorly for Demidov. He wasn't really being given any minutes, but later on towards the end, you had this tweet made by the Russian hockey team: "Our national squad has just won the 3x3 Channel 1 Cup, with Ivan Demidov being the MVP of the competition. Our players defeated Kazakhstan and Belarus to hoist the trophy aloft. 5 points for Demidov across the 2 games." And you could actually see there are some pretty good pictures of Demidov celebrating with the trophy and stuff, and maybe we can use this in the thumbnail of this video. Maybe, it's a possibility. But what I wanted to do was go out there and talk about Ivan Demidov a little bit more after the games and everything that went on here with the 3x3 Cup. Because not only have we been seeing Demidov's ice time in regular KHL play go down, but it's also started to become a bit more of a talking point with guys that you may have been familiar with if you were a Montreal Canadiens fan, let's say 15 some odd years ago. Because today, we're heading over to an article published on responsiblegambling.org. This was written and published by Sergei Demidov. No relation to Ivan Demidov, I don't think, at least. Sergei Demidov published this article yesterday, "Fight for every minute." Here is what Alexei Kovalev said about Ivan Demidov's ice time, Matvei Michkov's benching, and Alex Ovechkin's legacy. Now, full disclosure, it's right there in the title. There are a bunch of conversations that are written about and talked about by Sergei Demidov, the writer of the article, as well as Alexei Kovalev, who is the guy being interviewed in this piece. There's a conversation about Ovechkin. It's pretty long. You could go out there and click the link in the description if you wanted to read this article yourself. There also is a talk about Matvei Michkov, Washington, Philadelphia stuff. It's all in there. But obviously, because Demidov is a Montreal prospect and Alexei Kovalev is a former Hab, there is definitely a link that we could go out there and discuss, and it makes the entire conversation here interesting because Kovalev actually speaks out against Ivan Demidov and what Demidov has been doing this season. Now, that sounds kind of malicious, but I'm just kind of drawing the bait here, seeing if he'll stick around for this video, because if you go over to Alexei Kovalev, he certainly does have his name cemented in Montreal Canadiens lore. He was a really good player for the Habs. In fact, he was the last player to score 80 points for the team in one season. He had accomplished that 84-point marker in 82 games in 2007-2008, getting 35 goals and 49 assists. He then spent the next few years going around to Ottawa, Pittsburgh, he went to the KHL, he came back to Florida, then he went over to the Swiss leagues. But Alexei Kovalev, for as long of an NHL career as he had, wherein he was a 1,000-point scorer, certainly cemented his name in Montreal Canadiens lore. And with him having the last recorded 80-point season for any Canadian in the past few years, he certainly does have an impact here. Which is why we're going over what he had to say about Ivan Demidov and the situation in SKA. Take a look at this. Another Russian prodigy is having his own difficulty with ice time, as Canadiens prospect Ivan Demidov is seeing his ice time drop as of late. Alexei Kovalev, who had coached in the KHL for the Kunlun Dragons, does not buy the idea that Ivan Demidov needs to bide his ice time until his contract expires this summer. In his estimation, Demidov should push back and do anything he can to secure more ice time. He's behaving incorrectly, Kovalev said. It's wrong to just sit there and put up with 6 minutes per game, with plans to leave in 6 months and play in the NHL. That's not how it works, said Kovalev. You have to try to get more playing time by any means necessary. And I kind of question this entire thought process, because this is one of these things where it's like, yeah, of course, like, nobody who is a Canadiens fan is watching Ivan Demidov's progression in Russia and saying, yeah, he's doing a good thing. He's doing all right by getting 6 minutes of time on ice a game and being satisfied with that number. Like, we had spoken yesterday. Demidov said that he was unsatisfied with the way his season has been going so far in the KHL. Maybe he's disappointed in the way that he's playing, maybe he's disappointed in the ice time he's been given, maybe it's both. It very well could be both, because Ivan Demidov certainly has a lot more talent than a 6-player-a-night profile would indicate. So for Kovalev here to say that Demidov isn't really being given much, that he needs to be given more, yeah, it's very obvious that that's the truth here, but I do kind of question the response where it's like, yeah, you can demand more. Ivan Demidov is doing it wrong because he's not asking for more. Like, maybe I'm just not understanding the way Russian hockey players communicate with their coaches and just the way everything is run over there. I mean, I watched the Red Army documentary of Fetisov, Larionov, Kasatonov, Krutov, and Tretiak from a few years ago. I think I have kind of an idea of how Soviet hockey systems are run. Is it the same with Russian hockey systems today? Who really knows? But ultimately, I don't really know if Ivan Demidov would have the right to go over to his coach and be like, yeah, give me more ice time. I know I'm not going to be here in 6 months, but give me more ice time. Is that really like something that's an option here? Like, are you allowed to just do that? I don't know. Kovalev has the right idea, but to call him out and say, yeah, he's not doing it right, he's behaving incorrectly, what Demidov is doing this season is wrong. My question is, well, what's the contrary? Does he have the right to ask for more? It's not for a lack of trying on the ice. This article goes out there and writes, Demidov has put up 6 goals and 20 points in 33 games with an average playing time of just under 11 minutes per game. According to Alexei Kovalev, it doesn't matter that he's going to leave SKA in a few months. Demidov and his representation need to put their foot down and fight for more playing time. You also have to talk to your coach so that he can explain to you what you need to do, that he trusts you more. What if he's not given time in Montreal? Should he sit and wait too? That's the wrong approach. You have to fight for every minute by any means possible, explained Kovalev. For Demidov, that means he has to be more assertive with the SKA coaching staff and stand his ground if he feels he is being treated unfairly. Now, you can see why this is a really interesting commentary, right? This is so basic, but at the same time, it's so, maybe liberal is the right word, maybe anti-employer is the right word. I don't really know. Like, sure, it is within the company's best interest, company as in SKA's, it's in SKA St. Petersburg's best interest to play Demidov more. I don't think anybody is going to go out there and disagree with that notion, but does he have the right to demand more? That's also a thought process that's bubbling up in my mind as we read this thing. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Kovalev for sure has a point, but is he talking about a different perspective that we just have no perception of right now? Is there really a world where Demidov is able to demand more out of Roman Rottenberg and the coaching staff, and he would just be given it? Is that something that we really see here as a possibility? To me, I look at Ivan Demidov's situation and I say, yeah, this is just what happens with guys who happen to be young prospects who are in the KHL and whose futures are not going to be in that organization long term. Like, we all know that he's not going to stay there. We know he's going to come to Montreal by the end of the year. Does that hurt the way that he's going to be deployed? Absolutely. Like, it always happens. It happened with Mishkov last year. It happened with some of these other younger prospects who had really good talent profiles. The KHL gets salty when their guys end up leaving the league, and it's very obvious that they're going to do that. So what gives? Does Ivan Demidov have the right to ask for more? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.